Rosalina, the almighty and beautiful guardian of the cosmos, and protector of the Lumas. Rosalina is easily one of the most, if not the most, beloved character in the Mario universe, and for a lot of different reasons depending on who you ask. Maybe it's because she actually has an interesting backstory. Maybe it's because she's not just another damsel in distress. Or maybe it's just the emo hair thing she's got going on, I'm not too sure. The point is that people really adore Rosalina. But should they? Because behind Rosalina's seemingly relaxed and peaceful lifestyle could possibly be hiding a secret. A dark one. A crazy one. Let's talk about it. Now, every single person has a story, so to fully understand Rosalina, we're going to have to start from the beginning. Luckily for us, Super Mario Galaxy has a literal storybook to tell us Rosalina's story. It all starts when a very young Rosalina came across a very young and lonely Luma, looking for its lost mother, and out of the kindness in young Rosalina's heart, she befriends the Luma, and together, they travel all across the universe in search for the Luma's mother. During this adventure, they encounter more Lumas, and of course, Rosalina takes them under her wing as well. But after they pass the 100th comet, we learn something. Something really sad. Rosalina starts looking back at her home planet, and quickly becomes very homesick. It's at this point we learn why Rosalina has been all alone this whole time. Her mother is dead. She's been dead ever since Rosalina was a young child and stumbled across that Luma, and she's just now accepting it. That's definitely really depressing. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel, because Rosalina then declares that the Lumas will become her new family, living happily ever after together on the Comet Observatory. And while that does seem like a nice end to this story, it's actually where, believe it or not, things get even more depressing. I really hope you're ready for this. Remember, Rosalina's mother passed away when she was very young. Losing a parent isn't easy at all. But when you're just a child in particular, you're still learning and growing. This means you're impressionable. A traumatic experience like losing a parent and then being left completely alone is definitely going to mess with your head in some way as you're growing up. And in the case of Rosalina, she developed a condition called Abandoned Child Syndrome, which is a devastating mental medical condition which stems from being abandoned as a child. Gah, this is probably the darkest thing I've ever talked about. Anyway, now where's the proof that Rosalina has this condition? Well, let's check out the major symptoms that comes with abandoned child syndrome. The first symptom is alienation from the environment, keeping very heavily to yourself and withdrawing from society. Rosalina does this by spending all of her time standing around the observatory, watching the stars and reading books. At first, this doesn't seem like that much of a problem. That is, until you realize that there are Lumas spread throughout this entire galaxy that are in dangerous, life-threatening locations. Not only that, but a lot of them are starving. You know the ones Mario just has to overload with star bits until they explode. There's even some Lumas in the observatory that are really, really hungry. But instead of taking care of them, Rosalina decides to keep to herself. Which segues perfectly into the next symptom, fear and uncertainty, usually taking form in the shape of insecurities. Rosalina grew up, for the most part, without parents, so she was only really shown affection from a guardian figure for a short period of time. The result of this is that now, Rosalina is in the position of being a guardian or a parent, so to speak. But she doesn't really know how to do it, because she never grew up with parents around. Don't get me wrong, she definitely tries her best, like reading stories to the Lumas, possibly something her mother did when she was just a child. Rosalina isn't neglecting the Lumas because she's evil or something. She's doing it because she's just not as ready as she thought she was to be the caretaker of all these Lumas, and she's afraid. And one of the last major symptoms that comes with this condition, as well as many other medical conditions, is having very noticeable physical ailments, usually in the form of fatigue, depression, a lack of energy, and a lack of motivation to do anything. Rosalina prominently shows this by standing idly by as the entire galaxy is in peril. Everyone and everything is in danger from Bowser, including the Lumas and their way of life. And instead of Rosalina showing some kind of initiative to protect the species that she's chosen to look after, she's instead relying on Mario, this total stranger, to save the day. Even though Rosalina has proven herself to be very powerful and resourceful, having all kinds of special magical abilities and helping out that Luma way back when. This lack of energy can also be subtly noticed in Rosalina's voice. Yeah, Mario characters hardly ever speak, but when they do, it makes it all the more important to listen closely. Rosalina has a very monotone and disinterested voice throughout the entire game. Even when she's supposedly happy, she still sounds like there's no real energy to her voice.
Alright!
Rosalina was abandoned as a child, and now she's suffering from it. Shutting herself off from the world, staying at the observatory, not being the best caretaker for the Lumas, and constantly being depressed and afraid. But hey, that's just a theory, right? Well, not exactly, because I'm about to disprove my own theory. Yeah, for real. Why? Well, for one, come on, it's me, ConnerTheWaffle. You know I'm not gonna leave you on a hopeless and depressing note. And secondly, there's something I didn't mention. Oops. Now, Rosalina having abandoned child syndrome is something that I firmly believe is true. However, this particular condition is reversible. It can be cured, but only with the appropriate and delicate guidance. And you know what? I feel like Rosalina did get that loving, gentle guidance that she really needed. She lost her mother, and that took a toll on her, just like it would with anyone else, giving her the abandoned child syndrome. But the Lumas were there for her. They became her new family, and as time went on, she gradually became happier. There are hungry Lumas, so what? When the Lumas get fed, they become planets. Maybe Rosalina knew which ones really wanted to become planets and sent them out, knowing that one day a hero would come by and fulfill their wish. But anyway, going back to Rosalina, she found a new family. And family isn't always bound by blood.